They hide the truth beneath a mountain of lies. But the fire inside us can't be buried forever.
They pile up falsehoods, burying our cries. One by one we dig where the evidence lies. Nesters in the shadows, piecing every clue, shining light on secrets that they never wanted you to view. Smoke and mirrors crumble under our gaze. We won't back down, we're done with their maze. The ops unravel, media feeding gloom. Kids didn't deserve to die, their story needs room. No proof, no confession, plea deals won't suffice. We're taking back possession of the one thing that's right. Truth hinging, rising from the ashes of their lies. Fireballs ready to drop across the looted skies. We'll lift the veil, ignite the spark of justice bright. Stand case by case and bring the truth to light. Whispers in the corridors, they thought we'd look away, but every hidden thread unravels when we slay their charade. No more spin from their headlines, no more silence cries. We're the voice of those forgotten, watch their empire collide. Truth's a phoenix feather rising in the flames. We'll trace every lead, break their iron chains. Oh, break their iron chains. Rising, watch us light the sky. Truth the weapon they can never justify. One case at a time, we claim what's ours to fight. Rising up together, set the world alight.
This is just the beginning. The phoenix will never stop rising.
Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Fair game for the public to hear. All this smoke and mirrors. So who's telling the big fib? Are they all lying, or is it just some? Put down all or some for your answer. And welcome to this afternoon stream. Today is October the 14th. Beautiful, happy Tuesday to all of you. Boy, fall is certainly in the air. Fall is in the air. I was thinking all the things that we talked about yesterday, from the food to the bonfires to the pumpkin pies of the world. And I just want to say I am so glad it's fall, and I'm so glad that you all are here. Caleb, welcome in. Les, yep, it is time. It's showtime. Hey, baby bee. Amanda, good to see you, honey. Thanks for being here. Yes, Terry, good evening to you. Greet each other. Say hello. Donna Rosa, you got a lot of OGs in the house. Woo, woo. Here we go. Hey, Polka Dots. Glenn, it just gets better. I'll tell you, it keeps getting better. Wait till you... Oh my gosh, Grammy T. Mama Coco, welcome in. Grammy T, I am so sorry to hear this, but I am glad that you are set free from the hospital, and I pray that every single cell comes into alignment with healing in your body. Amen. I believe that. Whoa, that was a lot. Okay, Mama, I'm sorry you don't care for that song. I know it's not for everybody. I went back to the 80s, did a little revamping. I'm going to change the tune. Don't worry. You may not like the song for long, but if you stick around long enough, you'll know why I change them. So welcome in anyways. Welcome in, my pal Sal Vintage. Halo Art, welcome in. Yes, we do agree. We are all in agreement over Grammy T's healing. Polka Dots, welcome in. Lisa, welcome in. Y'all just jump in here. Welcome in. All right. So let's do this. Are you guys ready for the next one? Wolf Angel, welcome in. So, Grammy T. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I know it can be hard, but please give yourself grace and peace about the situation. I know it's hard, but we are all rooting for you. We're all praying for you, and we're sending you all good vibes and healing prayers. And I believe that will happen. Totally believe it. So when I think about fall, I think about colder weather. We talked about bonfires. How about scary podcasts? Have you all heard any scary podcasts? Hey, Holly, welcome in. Good to see you. Have you all seen some spooky podcasts lately? If you have one, recommend them. I mean, I've been looking at, some scary stories. And speaking of stories, I have got a doozy for you, okay? And it goes right into the theme of this October. Okay. Now, let me make sure that I have a totally clear thought here. When my kids were young and we would take a trip or get in the car and go to the grocery store, whatever, if we saw things on the side of the road, we would have this game that we played. Like, how did they get there? Why were they there? Who lost their item? And just the other day, I was driving down the road, and of course, I had my adult children in the car with me. And it was hilarious because this game we used to play when they were small, and I didn't know if they were going to remember, but they did. So there was this Halloween costume in the middle of the road, and I thought, what in the world? Somebody lost their Halloween costume in the middle of the road. And, you got to understand, my husband is one of those that if there's something on the side of the road, he's going to pull over and pick it up, help it, or do the right thing, get it out of the way. Whether it's a board, it's trash, debris, a tire, whatever, okay? So immediately when I see this Halloween costume, it looks like a kid's Halloween costume in the middle of the road in the bag, opened, and a part of it was hanging out, I immediately say, I spy, let's play the game. And I said, because it was a kid's costume, I said, I spy a kid's costume. And the little boy or the little girl, whoever was screaming in their car that wanted that costume, the mother bought it for them. And immediately when they got in the car, the little kid started acting up, and the mother held the costume out the window and said, if you don't stop it, I'm going to throw this costume out the window. So the mother threw it out the window, and instantly that child was scarred and traumatized forever around Halloween time. That was the story I made. Now, the funny part is, when my kids were younger, I would say my daughter was about 12. Hilarious story. Absolutely true story. I was so upset with her one time. She was coloring in a book and she started drawing on my car. I took the book and I said, you were never drawing in my car or in my car or on my car again. And I threw that book outside the window. Now, if you know anything about North Carolina, along the side of the road are ditches, and there was no way I was going to recover that book. I just kept on going. She was so angry with me for a long time, guys. But listen, this is the best fall time of year, and that reminded me of the costume story we saw the other day. But what's in it for you? A scary podcast. Anybody have a good pick? And here's the question of the day. Would you rather rake leaves or jump in them? I don't know about jumping in a big pile of leaves. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. And besides, we don't have trees out here. Not like tons of leaves like North Carolina. So if you guys know a good spooky, scary podcast, feel free to send it my way. And you know what else we're going to talk about scary? Ooh, these ghouls, I'm telling you, this is a wild one. If you haven't seen my video, you know I'm usually going to start with the video, but let's do this today. Ah, man, I pulled up the wrong video. Let's do this. Let's watch this longer version. I know I talked a little bit about it, but let's watch this longer version and let's get our head what Stacy Chapin says. And then we're going to talk about Miss Chapin. Not in a bad way. We're going to try to figure this out. Something ain't right, folks. Something just isn't right in Moscow, Idaho. I think we would all agree. I think we would all agree.
Hunter, my son Hunter, who was the one who had to call and tell us that Ethan wasn't here. And it was really hard for him because he could not say it. He just kept saying on the phone that day, Mom, Ethan's not here. And he just repeated himself, Ethan's not here. And I kept saying to him, well, go and get him. Go and get him. I mean, it made perfect sense. And he would say, you don't understand, he's not here. And to the point where I was like, go and get him then. I mean, you know. And he finally said to me, no, you don't understand, Mom. Ethan and Xana are not on this earth anymore. So.
Why? Because Moscow is the portal to hell.
So I left my grocery cart there in the middle of the produce department and ran out of the grocery store, and I called Jim, and that was the toughest thing that I've ever had to do. Washington, take care of our dog. I mean, it was all these things had to happen. But what happened next is that we had to get into the car and we had to make this journey. And I will tell you that that is the toughest, second maybe toughest thing I've ever done in my life, is to drive in the car that day. So there were a couple of things that happened. One, we got caught behind a traffic accident just outside of Everett. So we're sitting there. And at that time, our kids' phones had all been confiscated and our kids had been taken to the police department, so we had no communication with our kids.
Now, I don't know if you caught this. I talked about it earlier. They confiscated their phones. Confiscate is to take away with authority. But listen again to what she just said.
And our kids had been taken to the police
Our
department.
kids had been taken to the police department. Yeah, I've been looking for this said traffic accident for a while. I looked days before, I looked days after. There was one or two, nothing massive, but we'll get to it. Hold on.
We had no communication with our kids. And you could, you know, there's just no, but I couldn't get anybody to answer at the you know, police department. At the end of that trip is in what we call in Washington State the Palouse, and there is no cell service. So on top of, you know, everything else, we had no cell service. Anyways, we pulled into Moscow that night at about 9:30, picked our kids up. We had to go to the police station and have a meeting, and we wound up, they put us all up in a hotel that night, and the four of us laid in this hotel room. And there wasn't a lot of sleep that happened that night, but early in the morning, I got up. I told Jim, I'm going for a walk, and I walked to the house. My son was still there in it, and I just stood outside of it for a little bit.
Why would someone tell a story that possibly isn't true? Let's watch.
This hotel room. And there wasn't a lot of sleep that happened that night, but early in the morning, I got up. I told Jim, I'm going for a walk, and I walked to the house. My son was still there in it.
What?
And I just stood outside of it for a little bit.
Well, here we have actually not one, but two reports from the Moscow Police Department talking about the removal of all four deceased individuals. And if you notice, it says November 13th, 2022, approximately 9:28, they get these bodies ready to transport that same day they were found. So how could she be saying her son was in the house the next morning, when in fact, let me show you the next report. Is someone trying to hoodwink us or tell a fib? Okay, here's the second report from Jay Waters. Basically says at around 1853, which is 6:53 on 10/11, he talks about the night before somebody used his body cam. And then he goes on the night in question, 11/13, at 1122 King Road. He prepares them for transport. And it says right here at 8:51, he assisted. So I'm wondering, both of these officers and other officers were visually watching the house and transporting the bodies that night. So Ethan's mom is basically saying that she was at the hotel that night in the area. She goes and walks to 1122 King Road the next morning, which would be the 14th, unless she was there on the 13th of the morning that it happened. That brings some interesting speculation. But going by the reports, those kids were moved out on the 13th at night. So between 8 and 9 p.m. at night, they were moved out of the house. So this is very interesting. Did Stacy Chapin just tell on herself? Or is this a white lie? You decide. Like and follow for more. Be well.
Okay, y'all. So let's go back to the beginning. Stacy told a story about a crash on Seattle. So let's go here first. Let's just see, step by step, the indication that she gave us. I know this is wild for you guys to hear, but I want you to notice the movements, the voice, the fluctuations, the ha-ha moments. Because if you and I are going to travel, let's just say, hold on a minute. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt, okay? All public record. We're not doxing anyone. We are showing you exactly step by step. So she's got a P.O. box in La Conner. She mentioned La Conner, did she not? She mentioned that. But public information says that she lives in somewhere in Conway. Okay? Well, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and we'll just go and we'll Google to get from Conway to Moscow. Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt. So let's say Moscow. Boom. There we go. Okay. Oh, where did it go? Shoot. Hold on 1 second. Bam. Okay. So in order to get from La Conner, Conway area, Mount Vernon, Burlington, this is the corridor of I-5. I-5 corridor is all right here. I don't know if you guys can see this. There's Ketchum Lake, gorgeous area, by the way. Okay, so here we are in this general area right here, Conway. And so we're going to go all the way down to I-5, catch the 405, and then go into, I think it's 90, yeah, 90, all the way down into Moscow, Idaho. Beam, beam, beam. Okay, bam. That's kind of a long way. It says 5 hours and 55 minutes. But when you go back, bing, 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 when you go back to I-5 corridor, it's a long ways from here to the I-5 corridor. Okay, so let's go back and let's research, were there any accidents like she's talking about any time in that type of area? And at first I thought maybe she was mixing two stories into one. Possible. Yeah, make sure you like the button and yeah, transfer that DNA for me. Yes, thank you, Les. She started giving stories, looking at her notes, and that could be a lot of traffic. It could be a lot of nothing, right? So when you start looking at Parents Weekend, well, according to Parent Weekend Family 2022, what to expect, it was November 4th and the 5th. Okay? And that's per the University of Idaho. Okay? So I researched all the accidents for the whole entire month of November, folks. The entire month. And the only thing that I found was an accident on November 3rd, killing a woman in a car crash. Okay? So there was something in regards to they drove off an overpass in a suicide attempt. That was on November the 3rd. But didn't I just say that Parents Weekend was what? November the 3rd. Friday was the 4th. Not the car crash. It was a car that went over the side of a embankment on the kind of the huge overpass type of thing. So, according to this investigation from a state trooper, this guy was trapped in his car. And after it was a drunk driving accident, his eyes were watery and bloodshot. He was taken and they were given the state toxicology laboratory when charges were filed. At the hospital and take the car off of the embankment. Okay. And this was the story, I believe, that was Parents Weekend. So did she say that it was Parents Weekend? No, she did not. But she gave us the idea that there was an incident that held up traffic. Yes, he killed a woman during this, but it held up traffic. And I thought to myself, well, this was an I-5 crash in Seattle. If this is not the crash that she was talking about, please show me or point me in the right direction to a crash that happened during that weekend. Again, I researched every accident, Everett, Washington, I-5 wreck, November 2022. And that was the only wreck that came up. And yes, the prosecutors did charge the Seattle man with intentionally trying to drive off the overpass onto I-5 and killed that Everett woman. Yes, there are pictures everywhere. There are pictures everywhere on the internet of this alleged crash. Okay? That there was one other one that no, as a matter of fact, it was not the accident that I was thinking of. That was a 2025. So there was only one in November, and this is the woman. There was another article that I read. Hold on one second. I'll share it with you just so you know what I'm talking about. It was the whole community was mourning the loss of this beautiful young woman. She could light up a room in a second. Community mourns young mother who died in I-5 crash. This I-5 crash happened in Mount Terrace, Washington, which we can go right back to the screen. And it's right in between off of I-5, just like they said, on the way into Moscow, Idaho. But that was the weekend before. It was the weekend before. And it was that Thursday morning. So if they were driving up there Thursday night, because all the events started happening on Friday, if they were driving out there, I mean, we can listen to her again if we need to. But if they were leaving on Thursday night, they got to the hotel, and then the festivities began on Friday per the Argonaut. Okay? Festivities started Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. So if I'm an alumni, yes, Stacy is from the University of Idaho. If I'm an alumni and I want to go and visit some friends that may be there, because parents, let's just be real in this case. Those parents were sending their kids to the same school that their friends had kids at the same time that were going to the school. They're all friends. They're all buddies. They all know each other, right? So if you are going to meet up, bring your camper, have some fun, do all this stuff, then yes, tailgating is the picture that they shared right here. This is real. This is real. The footage is real. The body cams are real, but it's so easy to change a date, blur out some names, release some audio, blur out people's voices and faces to protect them, and then to release information or release audio, and this whole thing is a scam. And I mean that maybe a couple people lost their lives, but the whole story we're being told is not truthful. So they're all lying? Question mark. Are they all lying? This is a big fib. This is a huge big, oh shit, we got caught fib. And this is the reason that I say, pay attention to what they're telling us. Without telling us what you're telling us, tell us. The beer tasting was on the 4th, the cornhole tournament, the vandal game, and all that other stuff were going down. And they were in the car because this big accident happened that morning. I mean, be honest. I ran businesses. There's times that I would take a 4-day weekend. I would leave Thursday, get up there, have fun, get checked in, get time to breathe, especially after a long 5, 6 hour, 8-hour trip. I don't think anybody's mixing up 2 different weekends. We've been saying this all along. Something is not right. They tell us the story in little insy-bincy pieces, and I've been able to put those pieces together. You guys are going to shit when I tell you what I find next. See, I know that nobody's really looking at these documents, and that's the downfall. Nobody's really been watching what's going on behind the scenes, and that's the downfall. And yeah, Dylan tells us exactly what she saw. What she saw. Did this really happen? I question that every single day. They're telling us a story without telling us a story, because this might be something much bigger than we can even think about. It's not just a story of unaliving of 4 people. This is some political game some people are playing. And we are all been watching it unravel and unroll, and we are like, oh my God, did Dylan lie? Did Dylan lie? That's the title of my next live. Make sure that you follow it so you do get the simple text or message that said, hey, Phoenix is going live and this is what she's going to talk about. Make sure you do that. Now, yes, Les, you are so right. The Sharon Tate, yes, of the world. But Parents Weekend, I think this is what really happened. I think, in my humble opinion, something bad happened and the university had to cover it up, but they couldn't cover it up forever. And they had to come up with a game plan, because if you know the rules of fraternities and sororities, they are their own policing. If you get the local police involved that are not part of the university, which they are, which they totally are, they just made a huge mess of things, because some people are paying attention at a higher level. So there was Parents Weekend, right? So when you go back and you start looking at history, Idaho's been sued a lot in the news, guys. A lot. Here's a fundraiser that was done in this Everett woman killed by freak I-5 car crash. This was written November 9th, and it said that the crash happened on the 3rd. She died from her injuries. They did an online fundraiser and, was helping out the family. Here was the GoFundMe. I don't know if it's still up. Hold on one second. Nope, it's not up. But that was the accident. And it's so weird how she said that. That was so weird. But it did state that Mitchell was not wearing her seatbelt and was partially ejected from her vehicle. She was initially hospitalized, then passed away. This guy was he was having some mental health breakdown, and she was a bartender at the Getaway Tavern at Mount Lake Terrace. And the whole community was devastated. Yes, he was arrested. I didn't follow up and check his charges because that was irrelevant. It was either one or the other, that either Stacy was telling a big fib or they all were telling a huge fib. Yeah, the whole state be lying. Why you always lying, right? So this was the live dig, and this was what I found in regards to that one little tiny, tiny, tiny piece of clip that she shared. Very tiny, but very significant. Important stuff. Now, in this live dig process, I made a video. I don't know if you've seen this video because I want to share this and get into this too, because this is almost just as important, because this will lead us to where we need to go. Yes, 75% of income comes from the Greek. Absolutely. They all send their kids there. It's a generational thing. A generational thing. Yep, there you go. I knew you guys were going to get it. Didn't Dylan say they cleaned for Parents Weekend, so maybe they had a hard time finding evidence? Yeah, like cleaning and painting and yeah, hello. What if they found parents' DNA in their residence? What if there were parents' DNA in in that residence? Of course they had to knock the house down. Of course. Of course they couldn't let this go to trial. They already knew this wasn't going to trial. It shocked all of us for him to take the plea deal. But you know who it didn't shock? You know who it didn't shock? Guess who was not shocked? Oh, guess who was not shocked about the Koberger plea deal? And who didn't attend the Koberger sentencing? And they made a big stink about it. Remember the media telling us? I do. I was watching. I was paying attention. I don't subscribe to the Daily Mail, but it was never going to trial. Idaho victim Ethan Chapin's mom, gut-wrenching message to her son after skipping sentencing. Remember that one? They didn't go to the sentencing. Were they going to be found out? I don't know. But I thought it was interesting. And boy, has she changed over a short period of time. Wild how she's changed so fast. So fast. Changed a lot. Changed a great deal. And I don't know why they keep showing Ethan's pictures when he was so much younger. So much younger. That's just shocking to me. But it is what it is. I think someone's telling a fib. And they didn't think we were going to catch it. Shocking. So here's a question for you. What do you think motivated Stacy? What do you think motivated Stacy not to attend the court hearings? Do you think that that affected public perception of the case? Because I would have never looked into this had I kept asking myself, why did she not go to court? Why did she not go to his sentencing? Why did Bethany have Emily stand in for her? Why? All these questions. Why did Steve Jr. not make a statement? Because his statement was more political in nature than a victim's impact statement. Because remember, he gave that outside the courthouse. Remember that one? If you haven't seen it, go back a few lives, like a couple months back. She was busy making deals. They got their paycheck. She was scared that Bri would still. I don't know. I still don't know. In humbly respect, that either Brian's part of this thing from the feds or a CI threatened. Possibly. But you all just brought me right into the next thing I was going to talk about, which I love you guys. It's like you guys read my freaking mind. It's like you read my mind. This segue into this that I'm going to share with you real quick is going to lead you into the next part that I already have prepared for you guys. You are going to love it.
There's something in the Idaho 4 case I have never really understood. Now, this is Bethany right here. Yes, from the Idaho 4. State of Idaho versus Brian Koberger in the unaliving of 4 college off-campus students. Housing. So here is Claire, who likes to post. Thank you, Claire. And here is Yessie A. Or R. And why is this important? Because they all know each other. They hang out. And it appears that Bethany likes to go every summer back to that area, back to where her friends are, back to where the lake is. I mean, summers in Idaho are absolutely beautiful. And, you know, Claire has some involvement in this case with just being friends. And I kind of think this is actually the Claire that perhaps allegedly Kaylee was supposed to go to Europe with. And here's just a few more friends pictures with YR in the middle of this picture. A couple of other people that you may recognize. And yet again, same individuals hanging out. Bethany's friend, YR. And again, just another picture. You can go back and look at the dates. Very important. And yet again, in the summer, Bethany, Dylan, some more friends. You kind of get the picture, right? And yes, Claire eventually did make it to Europe just recently. As I believe, allegedly, she may have been going to Europe with Kaylee, like I said. But yet, this is the part that throws me for a loop. They all know each other. So this YR girl, who is friends with all these other girls and frat members, was called by the defense to come to court to testify. I don't know what, don't know why, but Ann Taylor's office for the defense wanted her to come to court. And they did send a subpoena to be delivered via the Latah County Sheriff's. But the Latah County Sheriff's can't find her. Not found. Means she was not served. She has no idea. And on the date of this, right up here at the top, That was 6/13/2025, just weeks before Brian Koberger took a plea deal. Weeks, literally weeks. But yet all these other people knew where maybe they could find her. No? I mean, there are some other individuals that were subpoenaed that I'll talk about in another video. But I just want to make sure I understand this, because I found the document where, well, let me show you. So this is in the Moscow Police Department reports, which you can find at justiceforall.com, F-O-U-R spelled out, forall.com, page 562 in the MPD reports. Now this is really tiny, hence I put my glasses on. And I'm going to read this from my computer. Well, you can zoom in if you want. So let's go second paragraph down. Once they all woke up, they got ready to blank for the house party. Maddie and B, Bethany, left to go first to P apartment at blank around 2100 hours. Okay, that's once they all woke up. Then it goes on to say that one of B's friend, that's Bethany's friend, Yessie A, who I just said, got to the blank and hung out.
Okay, Caleb, spill it.
With her. Bethany stated Y showed up at around 11 o'clock at night. They stayed in one of the apartments for a little longer, and she and Y, Yessie, went up to the main house for the blank fraternity. B stated, Bethany stated this might have been around 11:30 to 11:45 at that night. Bethany states, I think it's he hung out in the main part of the house for a while before she left the frat and saw Ethan and Xana in P's apartment. B stated this was around 12:17 a.m. Then B and Y, Yessie, went to A's house again on Taylor. B, Bethany, stated her, J, H, K, and Y were the only one at the house, whatever house they were at. And then B stated she walked her home around 1 o'clock in the morning, and Dylan and LM were the only one in the house. Is LM Landon Molding? Because it does say he. I don't know. Allegedly, it could be. Not sure. But then Bethany, D, and L were watching Vampire Diaries for a little while, around 1:22 hours. And then L left watching Vampire Diaries. And then Dylan went to her room after L left. I don't know. Then they say that Maddie and Kaylee came home at 2 a.m. I don't know. Maybe Y was going to tell under oath what actually happened, but couldn't find her. But I'm sure some of these friends know where she is. What are your thoughts about this? Now, I've been in court. I know what it's like to subpoena people, but you just don't send a random subpoena if you don't know for sure where they are at. This just seems kind of funny to me. Drop your thoughts below. Be well.
Okay. Here's the deal. You don't send a random subpoena to just anyone where you think they could be. Now, if Yessie was a friend of Bethany and Bethany has already left school, mind you, remember the pictures that I shared with you. I could play it again real quick in the beginning. Look at the dates of these pictures. It's going to be so important. I'm going to bring it home.
Now, here's something in the Idaho 4 case I have never really understood. Now, this is Bethany right here. Yes, from the Idaho 4. State of Idaho versus Brian Koberger in the unaliving of 4 college off-campus students. Housing. So here is Claire, who likes to post. Thank you, Claire. And here is Yessie A, or R. And why is this important? Because they all know each other. They hang out. And it appears that Bethany likes to go every summer back to that.
Now, either Claire is lied to us. Are they all lying? Or did this really take place in July 26, 2024, at the same time that Bethany was being subpoenaed to come to Idaho, and she fought it to where the defense had to go to Nevada to interview her? And here we see in July of 2024, timestamps, receipts that she may have been in Idaho. Does that make sense? How can you just not investigate where this girl was? I did a quick Google search, found her address. So why would they send a subpoena to Latah County for this girl when she is no longer there because everyone has graduated and moved on? Think about this. They were never going to court. 2 weeks before court, they send out a random subpoena for a YR that was in the Moscow Police Department reports I just showed you. And what did YR see that she could bring to the table? I'm thinking nothing. I'm thinking this was all strategically played out. They were never going to a trial. They knew there was never going to be a real trial. So who the hell is Brian Houdini Koberger? Does anybody know the answer to that? Who the hell is Brian Christopher Houdini Koberger? Who the hell is this guy? Kylie Rodney. I know everybody keeps saying that. Is that a fake subpoena? Because the only other document, folks, that I mean, let's just get real. The only other document that was supposed to be of value, which I'll bring it up so you could see it. This gets into the wild rabbit hole that I went down yesterday night. I mean, it just kept racing. My mind kept telling me, shit. Was Dylan lying? Did Dylan tell us the truth? This is the crazy part. I shared a snippet of it, and I don't know if anybody caught it yet. I don't think anybody caught it. Because I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let me pull the document up. You're going to be like, oh, crap. I think this is absolutely hilarious. I mean, and just while we're on this subject, just while we're on this subject real quick, I'm going to go ahead and share this with you so that you guys can see this. Hold on. You know, Stacy Chapin's Instagram is very interesting. If you ever get a chance, go look through it. Look at the specific time dates. Go look at everything that she has on her public Instagram. And you'll start seeing some crazy stuff. I mean, did you know that Hunter was a volunteer firefighter and ambulance? He got his EMT training. Unless this is not her, she's under Stacy Wells Chapin. I mean, I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, this was just 44 weeks ago. Now he's an EMT. I mean, she shares a lot about her life. But let me get this one quick document. Hold on. So I want to make sure I have the original. Hold on one second. And I'm going to get it right from the repository so that you can see it. Where is it at? Hold on. Here it is. Bingo, bango. Oh, that one's Candy. Hold on. Here we go. This is the original document. I've not touched it, didn't put anything on it. This is the subpoena from our good old friend Timothy DeWolf. Now, if you remember, yeah, it was the Betty Ball dance. I was looking everywhere for the Betty Ball dance. Everywhere. I can't find it anywhere. And do you know what they tell the frats to do, just like in this recent case with Austin Dawson, the guy that got beat up? They locked down. I was going to talk about this later, but I'm going to talk about it right now since somebody brought it up. They have broken down their websites, all the fraternity websites now that individuals cannot post. It is all ran by their social media company across the board. Every single fraternity has switched over to one massive company that they only put out content they want. If you've not noticed, they told everybody to put their social media on private. They've told everybody. Yes, they did. Yes, they freaking did. Erase or put it on private. Erase or put it on private. Because here's the deal. They share everything that we can poke holes in. They poke. I mean, they don't want to be poked at. Haha. So Timothy DeWolf, couldn't find him either. Not found. I did a freaking LinkedIn real quick search. He's in Boise, Idaho. He works for a company. It's all public record. So why the hell would they send out a website, a freaking subpoena, not found, return of service? They were never going to trial. Come on. Who's playing the games? Game over. We are on to you. We are so on to you, Moscow. Shame on you. Was it the Phoenix deal that fell through? All the little clues are right there. Is it the Phoenix U of I deal that fell through? University of Phoenix. I wonder. What do you wonder? Do you wonder if you were able to find out one thing, what would it be? Mine would be, let me see. Let me think about it for a minute. Mine would be, let's see. Gosh, this is a tough one. What one thing, the Twilight Zone, it's the pit of hell. What would be, and Utah is fast following it, guys. Mark my words. Utah is fast following it. What would my one ask be out of this whole entire case that people have watched for years? It's like a true crime reality TV show, right? That's what I'm thinking. But what would be the one thing that I would want to know? I guess, when they do shit like this, it's like they're sending a message, okay? They're sending a message. And what's the message that they're sending? Are they playing games? Are they trying to mislead us? Is there some? Remember the H7 in the Amazon. Remember all that other stuff? I mean, I can make a whole list and you'd be like, crap, there's a lot of that in this case. Absolutely. Let me get this video. It just came to my mind. Law and crime. Let me grab it. That's the one question I want to ask. Here it is. Here it is. I would want to know this. Let me add it to my screen so you can see it. This is the one thing I want to know. Hold on a minute. I want to know why Dylan is wearing a Phoenix shirt. Why is she wearing a Phoenix shirt? That was Xana's shirt. Why was Dylan wearing Maddie's headpiece after Maddie was dead? She was out on the town partying with her friends and she's got Maddie's headpiece on too. Her little headband. I mean, I noticed stuff like this. I noticed little things like this. Why was the panties in the street and no one's talked about it for 3 years? And the underwear. JD in the back of the car. I mean, the knife appearing on the table. I mean, if I made a list of things, you'd be like, holy freaking moly. What did somebody say? Ann Rule? Oh, no, maybe they're covering much bigger investigation, trafficking, dirty cops. I don't know. It has to be. Yes, it does. It has to be huge for our free leader, the president of the free leader of our country, to say something of that nature. Is it a political move? Is it a political move? It's got to be. There's got to be people involved, even right down to the freaking shirt that Kaylee was wearing, inebriated and something. That was a rivalry between the University of Idaho and Boise. And remember, Boise is the most liberal city in Idaho. I mean, I can go 1,000 feet level. I can go 10,000 foot level. I can go 40,000 foot level. I mean, if you think about it, why was she wearing a Phoenix 99 shirt? That was the champion. Did they want to bring the football team to Moscow? Did they want to recruit some people from Arizona into Idaho? Did they want a better football team? Were they fighting the Boise BSU game? I mean, come on, BSU's huge. Remember, I used to live out in the area. We used to go to games all the time. It's a huge football town. So, yep, the Corner Club. That shirt was from the Corner Club. They still sell it for $30 on their website. You can go take a look at it. But that was the rivalry. It was huge. It's a big thing. Was this a political backlash because now this case is going to absolutely ruin them to the ground? Was this a financial thing with the town, with the city, with the state? I mean, we can go really deep into it. But let me just say this. Listen to what Dylan says, because we're going to leave off here tomorrow at 11 when I go live. This is where I'm picking up at. Listen to what Dylan says. I mean, like, really listen, guys. We can break every single word down, but she's telling you. Do you think Dylan is telling a fib? Are they all lying?
Pretty much they were in the name of my brother dancing around.
Pretty much they. Pretty much they. Who is they? Just like Bill Thompson said they. The perpetrators. They.
Pretty much they were in the main room.
They.
My brother dancing around.
Who was in the main room, Dylan?
Kaylee went upstairs.
Kaylee went upstairs and screamed someone was here.
She screamed because someone was in the room. She ran downstairs. And I kept calling her name and she wouldn't answer. And then I saw the guy.
I saw the guy. I saw the guy. Yeah, Karen, we don't care if you troll. You can troll all you want. If you don't understand, go back and start from the beginning. If you're trolling, you can stay. Just be quiet. Troll silently. That's always better. You don't get caught.
I just walked the door and then I ran downstairs. We don't know what's going on.
Just come here.
Okay. That's where I ended my clip. But you get the gist of what she's saying over and over again. She comes up, JD comes up, and she just blabbers. She blabbers everything.
Pretty much they were in the main room.
They were in the main room dancing. Murphy and Kaylee are dancing. We've seen videos where she dances with Murphy, but she says they were dancing. Was there somebody else there? Was there maybe a MIA guy they can't figure out where he lives? Like this guy, Tim? Was Tim in there dancing with Kaylee? Was Tim dancing with Kaylee? Was Tim dancing with Kaylee? Could Tim have been dancing with Kaylee? Could Tim have been dancing with Kaylee? I wonder if Tim could have been dancing with Kaylee. I don't know. Tim DeWolf, the vice president of Sigma Chi. Could Tim have been dancing with Kaylee? And document 0031, ISP document. Someone described she'd seen Snapchat videos, number 20. And she also described on 18 that there was some type of text. Sorry, 15. She stated blank was no longer at the university because she graduated last year, talking about somebody else. However, blank could have been sent a text the night of the homicide. The text was a screenshot describing two of the other roommates locking their doors because they heard someone rummaging around. Heard someone rummaging around. Well, that's the picture that we see with Bethany in the room and the blinds broken and the beers on her thing, and possibly someone broke something. Possibly. But could, is it possible, could that have been Tim dancing with Kaylee? Is that even possible? Well, I found a document, folks, that it sounds like to me this was Tim giving his account. Tim DeWolf. And let me grab that document. I'm just going to give it to you. Because I know everybody's like, okay, spill the beans. We're asking other people to spill the beans. I'm going to spill the beans. I've got a picture of Tim. I got lots of pictures of Tim. And Tim is our highlight special for tomorrow. But something Dylan said made me think, shit, why would they call Tim DeWolf to court? Why would they call Tim DeWolf to court? Caleb, stop it. No way. What did Caleb say? Caleb, what did you say? Right? Screenshot of the noise. What? Wait, what? Oh, you guys are just going like fast no tomorrow. Okay, let me grab his document and I will show you what I'm talking about. I have the number right here. It is document ISP 0044. Let me grab them and I will show you 0044. I didn't plan on doing this tonight, but I'll do it right now for you so you guys have some context for tomorrow when I share it. There we go. There we go. ISP 0044. This document, let me move it over so I can give it to you. Hold on. Okay. This document, you scroll down right to bingo bango. 54, page 4 of 6. So-and-so interviewed his whereabouts and his knowledge of the fraternity, yada, yada, yada. He was interviewed prior Thanksgiving break on the 18th by the FBI in Boise, Idaho. This individual is from Boise. He previously interviewed Thanksgiving week with the FBI. He was asked about the victims. Xana Cornudo was his Greek little, and Greek little is not someone you are pursuing, but friends who becomes part of your Greek family, yada, 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 talks about him. They use Snapchat, yada, yada, yada. And it was something he said in the middle of all this, gave the history of the frat, what was going on, the fights. Something happened on another formal where somebody got thrown out. And I said, what in the world is he talking about? And then I went back and I saw, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. Now, he and Kaylee started talking about a month prior to the homicide. She would come back with him and stay at the fraternity. Tim was subpoenaed because of his knowledge. Who was dancing in the main room with Kaylee on the second floor? Was he a witness to what happened? Is that why the defense were calling him to testify? They talked on Saturday at the pregame where Kaylee apologized to him and wanted to go to the game with him, but he had already had plans to go to the sorority formal that evening with blankety blank. Kaylee texted him that night and he had ignored it. Kaylee was pretty drunk on Saturday, and she was probably texting others to hang out as well, basically saying, hey, she was coming back to the frat with me, but she was also texting others. The texts were through Snapchat, and they delete them. Oh, I'm sure Jack Decor didn't like that at all. I'm sure rumor got around, but who was dancing with Kaylee in that room that early in the morning? Somebody comfortable with Murphy, that's for sure. Blank still lives by himself. He said he was out of the picture on Saturday because of being at the formal. Well, mister, I'll tell you, a lot of people, the formals have to end it at 12 or 1 a.m. and then they all have after parties. They all have after parties. They all have after parties. So what's the real deal? Are they all lying, or are we able to see through the BS and find out the truth? Drop your comments below. Was it truly jealousy? Was it a crime of passion? Was it indeed a butcher knife? Wait till you see what I found out about a possible murder weapon. Yes, folks. The one they wanted to bury. No weapon, no motive, no connection, no stalking, no nothing. I want to tell you all, but I got to save some for tomorrow. So with that being said, drop your thoughts. Bow chicka wow wow is probably right. What was happening in that house? Blank popped up on the university radar a couple of times because of his blank. They got into a fight at the corner club one night. And then he was telling on Jack S. Okay? Wrong place at the wrong time. He tells us without it looks like he was at the wrong place at the wrong time and got caught in the middle of an altercation. Guys, Tim is telling us something, but he didn't want to go to court. But it was so easy to find Tim DeWolf. And guess what? Guess what sports he played? I'll leave it right there. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., I'm going to drop the whole detail.
They hide the truth beneath a mountain of lies. But the fire inside us can't be buried forever.
They pile up falsehoods, burying our cries. One by one we dig where the evidence lies. Nesters in the shadows, piecing every clue. Shining light on secrets that they never wanted you to view. Smoke and mirrors crumble under our gaze. We won't back down, we're done with their maze. The ops unravel, media feeding gloom. Kids didn't deserve to die, their story needs room. No proof, no confession, plea deals won't suffice. We're taking back possession of the one thing that's right. Truth phoenix rising from the ashes of their lies. Fireballs ready to drop across the looted skies. We'll lift the veil, ignite the spark of justice bright. Stand case by case and bring the truth to light. Whispers in the corridors, they thought we'd look away, but every hidden thread unravels when we slay their charade. No more spin from their headlines, no more silence cries. We're the voice of those forgotten, watch their empire collide. Truth's a phoenix feather rising in the flames. We'll trace every lead, break their iron chains. Oh, break their iron chains. Rising, watch us light the sky. Truth the weapon they can never justify. One case at a time, we claim what's ours to fight. Rising up together, set the world alight.
This is just the beginning. The phoenix will never stop rising.